new video. This is the second part of my best songs of 1967. A little while back I did 11 to 20. I'm now going to do the top 10. Go through these songs all from 1967. They're all singles and they all captured my imagination when I was 13 years of age. So let's get on to number 10. Ichiku Park by the Small Faces, written by Steve Marriott and Ronnie Lane, and largely written by Lane, though. It's one of the first music recordings to feature flanking. This was made possible by electromechanical processes, whatever that means. A number of sources claim the song's name derived from the nickname of Little Ilford Park in the London suburb of Manor Park. That's where Steve Marriott grew up. And the Ichiku nickname is attributed to stinging nettles which grew there and the feeling that they created. Marriott and Small Faces manager Tony Calder came up with this story when the BBC banned the song for its overt drug references. So there we have it, stinging nettles. The ban was then lifted after this explanation. And Steve Marriott once went on to say that the Small Faces is very much a R&B and music hall band, and nothing to do with that sort of drug-induced psychedelia. And that's what Ichiku Park is about, having a drink and having a party. So now you know. Great song, though. At 9 is Sweet Soul Music by Arthur Connolly. It was written by Connolly and Otis Redding, and it's based on the Sam Cooke song Yeah Man from Cooke's posthumous album Shake. The opening riff is a quote from Elmer Bernstein's score for the Magnificent Seven that was released in 1960. Sold over 1 million copies and got a gold disc. Cooke's business partner, Alexander, wasn't too happy about these references and sued Redding and Connolly for appropriating the melody, and a settlement was reached in which Cooke's name was added to the writer's credits. Redding agreed to record some songs in the future for Gags Music, which was a Sam Cooke Alexander enterprise. The songs are homage to soul music, and it mentions in the lyrics a number of songs, Going to a Go-Go by the Miracles, Hold On, I'm Coming by Sam and Dave, the famous Mustang Sally by Wilson Pickett, and Far, 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 Otis Redding. And the instrumental version is an interesting variation of this, and it's got on it James Brown's words, Hit It Otis. And anyway, that's a Sweet Soul Music by Arthur Connolly. It's my number 9 in this best of songs for 1967. 8 then, Respect by Aretha Franklin. Originally recorded by Otis Redding. Released in 65 then as a single from his third album, Otis Blue. But when Aretha got a pause on it, it became a huge hit. And it became her signature song, resulting in 2 versions, though, are significantly different. There's a few changes in the lyrics and different narratives around the themes of human dignity that have been interpreted in commentaries in relation to gender roles. Franklin's interpretation became an anthem for the feminist movement in the 70s, and she picked up 2 Grammys in 1968 for the song. And she was quite controlling in her music, and the rhythm section were told how to perform her established arrangement of the stop and stutter syncopation. She worked out new parts for the backing singers as well. Recorded coincidentally on February the 14th, 1967, Valentine's Day. And so on the bridge, of course, there's a tremendous tenor sax solo by King Curtis, which were basically taken from chords from a Sam and Dave song, When Something Is Wrong With My Baby. Aretha played, having a scratch, sorry. Aretha played piano in the number, and the arrangement was by Arif Mardin, and it's absolutely awesome. Respect. Number 8, Aretha Franklin. 7, this is Waterloo Sunset by the Kinks, featured on the album Something Else, composed by the frontman Ray Davies. It's one of the band's best known and most acclaimed songs, reached number 2 UK charts. The lyrics describe a solitary narrator watching or imagining two lovers passing over a bridge, with the observer reflecting on the couple. We also see the Thames and Waterloo Station. The song was rumoured to have been inspired by the romance between two British celebrities at the time, Terence Stamp and Julie Christie, who'd starred in the 1967 movie Far From the Madding Crowd. Ray Davies actually denied this in his autobiography and claimed in an interview later that it was a fantasy about my sister going off with her boyfriend to a new world, and they were going to emigrate and go to another country. In the UK, the song is commonly considered to be Davies' most famous work, and I love it. Waterloo Sunset by the Kinks. Then, Light My Fire, The Doors, recorded in '66 but released in January '77, and it was on their debut album as well. Released as an edited single in April '67, principally written by Robbie Krieger, although credited to the whole band. When it was performed live on the Ed Sullivan Show in September '67, it caused a little bit of furore. The Doors were asked by the producer of the show to change the line "Girl, we couldn't get much higher," as the sponsors were uncomfortable with the possible references to drugs. However, the meaning of the line was confirmed to be literal, as in high in the sky, but they still weren't happy about it. So the band agreed to change the words using the amended lyric, "Girl, we couldn't get much better." However, during the performance, Jim Morrison basically stuck his fingers up to them and sang the original lyric. And that ended the Doors' association for ages with any commercial TV stations. And it's also probably why it became such a quintessential work for the psychedelic rock genre. Well done, Jim. And it's my number 6, Light My Fire. Another Beach Boys hit, Darling, from Wild Honey, that album that came out in '67, written by Brian Wilson, Dave and Mike Love, inspired by the singer Danny Hutton, and was originally intended to be recorded by an early version of Three Dog Night's Darling. Carl Wilson ultimately sang the lead vocal, and it's a pretty strong track, as were most Beach Boys releases at and around the mid-60s. So it's my number 5, Darling, by the Beach Boys. Long set of songs this year. And so my number 4, Strawberry Fields Forever, the Beatles, of course, double A side with Penny Lane, highly influential on the emerging psychedelic genre. Lennon based the song on his childhood memories of playing in the garden of Strawberry Field, a Salvation Army children's home in Liverpool. It featured reverse recorded instrumentation, mellotrons, flute sounds, an Indian swamandal, whatever that is, tape loops, and a fade-out, fade-in coda, as well as a cello and brass arrangements by producer George Martin. It was intended for inclusion on the Sgt. Pepper album, but pressure from the record company and management for new work, the group were forced to issue it as a single, and then adhered to their philosophy of omitting singles from albums. George Martin, the producer, recalled that when he first heard Strawberry Fields Forever, he thought it conjured up a hazy, impressionistic dream world. So now you know. Great song. To 3 then, Jimi Hendrix Experience, Purple Haze. written by Jimmy and released as a second single after Hey Joe in March '67. It features his inventive guitar playing, which uses his signature Hendrix chords and a mix of blues and Eastern modalities, shaped by novel sounds and advanced processing techniques. Because of the ambiguities in the lyrics, listeners often interpret the song as referring to a psychedelic experience with LSD. And in fact, at the time, the drug LSD conjured up the nickname Purple Haze, if you wanted to buy it. I know that because I remember buying it. Oh, what a confession. It's described by Hendrix as a love song, produced by Chas Chandler, of course, and he heard the riff and was knocked out by it. Chandler claimed that after some urging, Hendrix wrote the rest of Purple Haze after that initial riff in a dressing room at a London club during the afternoon of a gig on Boxing Day in 1966. The guitar solo features the first use of an Octavia guitar effects unit. Acoustically and electronic engineer Roger Mayer developed the unit with input from Hendrix. Less of the technicalities, just to say that this single really launched my idolisation of this man. But the main agreement is that it was about a dream that he had when he was walking under the sea. Anyway, so there we are at number 3, and a brief lyric, sorry. Purple haze all around, don't know if I'm coming up or down, or am I happy or am in misery. Whatever it is, that girl put a spell on me. Very brief, but it gets you a flavour. Number 3, Purple Haze, by the Jimi Hendrix Experience. Wow. 2 then, I Was Made to Love Her by Stevie Wonder, written by Wonder and his mother, and included in the same titled album that was released in '67. It peaked at number 2 in the Billboard singles chart, and it's really stood out really as one of his classics. It's very much a true song. The last lyric line, "You know Stevie ain't gonna leave her," was ad-libbed by Wonder. Clavinet and harmonica featured, the Funk Brothers backing bands, and the Andantes on backing vocals. It's a true classic. Number 2 in my top 10 for 1967, I Was Made to Love Her by the wonderful Stevie Wonder. Go then. What famous single have I left out? You probably guessed it. Number 1, A Whiter Shade of Pale by Procol Harum. It was on their debut record in the States, but we didn't have it on the debut album in the UK. Although it released as a single, it went to number 1, stayed there for 6 weeks. And no promotion really on that. Very much an anthem of the '67 Summer of Love feeling. One of the most commercially successful singles in history, sold over 10 million copies, and an enduring classic, and lots of cover versions by a bevy of other artists. It's got a Bach-derived instrumental melody, very soulful vocals, and unusual lyrics, composed by Gary Brooker and Matthew Fisher, and the lyrics were written by Keith Reid. Now, Keith Reid got the title and starting point apparently from a song at a party, and he overheard a conversation by a man to a woman saying, "You've turned a whiter shade of pale," and the phrase stuck in his mind. There are various interpretations to this film, but mainly it's about male-female relationships in that party atmosphere, which may or may not have led to some sexual activity. The mood of the party was basically the motive behind the song. And I'm inclined to go along with that rather than any convoluted explanation that we've heard elsewhere. And so that is my number one for 1967. And it really stands head and shoulders above all the singles that year, and possibly all the singles that have ever been released. Okay, that's my take on 1967. Probably went on too long. Hope you enjoyed it. 68, coming up soon.